We are good to go. Ashleigh, thank you so much for doing this for us tonight. I know for our team, like everyone knows, Ashleigh Mayfield, you want to get fired up, you go watch an Ashleigh Mayfield video. So
you guys are crazy. How is everybody? I'm so excited. Let's all turn our cameras on. Woo, woo! Yeah, yeah! Cameras on. Let's see those ceiling fans. Hopefully everyone's clothed and appropriate.
I told them last week, I was like, if you're not naked, turn your camera on.
Yes, please. If you are naked, Lord, we got bigger issues. That's the after party. I'm just kidding.
All right. All right. It looks like I'm trying to make sure we get everyone muted too. So cameras on, mute yourselves. I got all the questions, condensed them down, got them to Ashleigh. So yeah, so Ashleigh, we wanted you on because this team, like we are a presidential team, and they know that I've been preaching it to them constantly. And I just know that these girls are just so capable of so much. And I know that there's been a few things that they feel like are holding them back. And when you made that offer in Lifers, I just thought, dang, who better to have preach it to them than Ashleigh herself. So I know you got the questions. Do you want me to like just kind of go over, and I don't know what order you want to do them in?
Whatever you want. The world is your oyster, girl. If you just want to start asking me and we can just shoot fire, let's do it. Whatever you want.
All right, let's do it. So I know a lot of them are curious. Do you, let me make sure everyone's muted. Do you, are you a mass enroller, or do you just complete Steps to Success every month? What's your normal?
My number is 9 distributors. That's all I want.
Okay.
9 distributors. Obviously, I get customers. I mean, I'm going to get at least 6 customers every single month. But I leverage my leadership. I feel like leadership is my gift. I'm passionate about vision, culture, and leadership. Those are like my 3 things. And so for me, I would rather enroll and then lead and see that duplication happen than just like mass enroll and see whoever sticks. You know what I mean? So that doesn't mean all 9 of mine stick and stay. I'm not a perfect leader by any means, but I'd rather just get my 9. That's my golden number. And that's really all I want. And then I want to be able to lead and pour in, train, have that duplication. That's very important to me.
Fantastic. So do you feel like, or I guess, something that I know a lot of them feel like they're struggling with is, I mean, I already know what you're going to say, but you enroll 9. Ashleigh, are all 9 of them just absolute rock stars and nobody quits on you and you attract all the right distributors and you never have any problems with them?
Life is so perfect. No, you know, it's so funny. Like, you never know who's going to stick. I think that no matter who you are, it's easy, or maybe you have this weird deception that people at the top don't have people that, and I mean, I wouldn't really consider myself to be at the top, but that even like a Steph and Joel or something like that, that no one ever quits on them. People just do. It has nothing to do with me. It has more to do with them. But yeah, I get people that quit all the time. I've had people just 2 months ago, someone joined me and blocked me the next day. Like, I can't, you know what I mean? I can't make this stuff up, but it happens. Some people are only meant to take you so far. Some people catch the vision and go all in. And some people, I screw up. Some people, you know, I don't hold their hand as much as I could or should their first few weeks in the business. Maybe I moved them to a part of my chart where my attention had to go elsewhere for whatever reason. I don't know, like, I'm not a perfect leader. So there's a variety of different reasons, but it's just not for everybody at the end of the day.
How do you feel like do you do anything specifically though to try and attract more the type of distributor that you're wanting? For example, like I know I've heard Pam say recently, like Carrie was posting in her story about how she used to live in her mom's basement, and then she realized that she was attracting people who thought they were just going to go straight from basement to this nice house and not have to put the work in. So is there something kind of more specific that you do, or more fine-tuned that you do to attract more of the working distributor?
No, I don't think there's a secret sauce. I mean, because you can even attract all like the people who want to work, and in them, there's going to be a bottom. There's a bottom to everybody. You know what I mean? I think for me, what I I mean, yeah, I obviously want people that work hard. I would love to recruit professionals who have a network of 20,000 people and, you know, and they're already used to working commissions based. I would love those people. But a lot of my mission is just marketing debt free. It's just money and debt free. And I find that marketing that mission, because it's something I'm passionate about, I come off very authentic and vulnerable with it. And because I've done something and we're doing something in our tribe, I'm able to market that. And that really works very well for me because there's, I mean, over 70% of Americans are drowning in debt. You know, I don't even know what the new statistic is for 2020. But so I think for me, I'm just marketing money. And I find that I touch so many different people. And I don't think I need, I don't really look for a certain person. Obviously, I want someone that has a good work ethic like we all do. I look for the same stuff that you all do as well. You know what I mean? But I think you can really tell in the first few weeks how someone's going to go. I will say this though, some of the greatest people that I have that are leaders now dipped their first 30 days. Some of my strongest leaders right now didn't do anything. They barely earned their shopping spree. Some of them didn't even get their shopping spree, or we like got their shopping spree for them because we wanted to get the fast start bonus. But now they're like my diamonds, doubles, and VIP. So I really just I don't know, I don't really judge anyone, but I'm not looking for a specific person. I can tell you that I attract a lot of yellows. Just if you're a dominant red, you're gonna attract a lot of yellows because I'm very assertive, I'm very direct, I'm very candid, and a lot of yellows, they just don't have those qualities, which is fine. That I think that doesn't knock a yellow, but I tend to attract a lot of yellows, and I love it. I love yellows because I can tell them what to do and they'll do it. And they like that.
So true. Okay. So I guess, you know, I just assumed that everybody on here knows your story. And I guess maybe I should have had you give a really quick overview of your story because I do love your focus on being debt free. And like I said, I just realized that we do have some newbies on here who probably don't know your story. So that is my bad. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
A little bit.
That's okay. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Ashleigh Mayfield. And honestly, next month, next month, I don't know how you'd say that, but May 24th will be my 4-year anniversary with the company. And that really sounds really, really crazy. It still sounds really weird calling myself an ambassador because I remember 4 years ago, like I remember being at the bottom thinking that'll never be me. Like I don't have what it takes and counting myself out and all that. I jumped in after watching my enroller for 18 months, literally a year and a half. I never liked, I never commented, I never interacted. She had no idea who I was. And I just silently stalked. And I just knew that I wanted an extra $200 to $300. And when I jumped in, the company was giving away a free cruise. And I'd watched my enroller go on it the year before. And so me and Jason, we had maxed out credit cards. We had never been on a honeymoon. We had been married for 9 years at the time. And I'd never been on a cruise. And so I worked really, really hard. Not hard enough to get my husband on, but I worked hard enough for me to get on. And I went on the cruise and I actually got Ruby to go on the cruise. I said, how do I get on this cruise? I want it. And my enroller was like, if you go Ruby, you're going to qualify. And so kind of like how the company just gave away Margaritaville a few months back. And so I got on the cruise and I got exactly what I wanted. And I sat at Ruby for 8 or 9 months because I got exactly what I wanted. And how many of you guys know success will take you out? If you don't keep dreaming, if you don't keep showing up, if you don't keep working, as you climb the ranks, it doesn't get easier. You have to give more. And the more looks different. So I know I don't want that to freak you out because you're like, oh my gosh, I barely have time now. How am I going to give more? It's going to look different. But you have to give more of yourself. And I wasn't ready for that. I thought, oh, if I'm a Ruby, now I have all these people underneath me. The work's going to be lighter on my shoulders. And that's just not how it works. And so I finally pulled my head out of my butt in month 8. And I really did want to quit month 7. I'm so glad I'm stubborn. Is anybody else stubborn? Can you drop a 1 in the chat if you're stubborn? And my stubbornness is what kept me in. I'm so grateful for it. Because I had too much pride to go back on my word. I had committed a year for my enroller. And so I decided to go all in January 2017. And that wasn't for me. That wasn't for my business. That was for my life. Like I decided to stop being the person that overcommit and underdeliver. Even though I do tend to do that still, but I stopped being the person that like I'm going to stop blaming everybody else in my life for not having success. And I'm going to go all in after what I want. And I'm going to stop counting myself out, and I'm going to stop quitting on myself. And so I just did a Facebook Live earlier today. Many of you probably saw it, on stop stopping yourself. And it's just a decision that I made. And so I've been running since January of 2017. I started doing personal development. I went from Ruby to double in 5 months. I had to sit at double for just a little bit because I had to learn some leadership lessons. I was very tough. I was very hard. I was very red. And I unintentionally started bulldozing over people, which is not what I wanted, but it was just where I was as a leader. And once I started developing through that, we went 100% debt free. We paid off $63,801.99. And that's when people started knowing who I was, because in 1 year period, we had not only paid off debt, but I went from double, triple pres ambassador. And then 90 days later, I took my 2.0 account diamond. And last month I took it double diamond, which was super exciting. And that sounds really pretty. You know, it sounds really pretty and really possible, but I just want you to know there was a lot of pain that came in my journey. There was a lot of me figuring it out, a lot of me not just trusting the process, but trusting my process. A lot of me not giving up on myself, not going back on my word that I committed in January 2017. Lots of people doubting me, lots of people making fun of me, and lots of people quitting on me. So lots of tears, lots of sleepless nights. But it's possible because I'm not better than you. And my God, if I can do it, you can. Like legit.
Girl, I did not know you went double to ambassador in 1 year. Like, that's crazy, you guys. That just tells me that Ashleigh, like, I already know you're a hustler, but that just tells me that, like, she hustled her butt so much. But you guys, it's because she didn't count herself out. How many of you guys have sat there and said, oh my gosh, it's already April and I'm not where I wanted to be? Oh, well, there's always next year. Like, I've been guilty of it before. That's why I sat at diamond for so long. Like, it just, but you know, if you just commit to it and put your head down, look at what you can accomplish. That's insane. That is so impressive, Ashleigh. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, let's talk a little bit about your organization, kind of how you run your business. So how do you find balance between like helping your team, building your team, pouring into your team, but still finding the time to put into your own personal business? Because I know that a lot of the girls on here are getting to that Ruby and above level. And I think that they're starting to find kind of a little bit, it's a little bit of a struggle when you start getting a bigger team, trying to give them your time and coaching, but then also make sure that you're still giving your business the time that you need to.
Yep. I actually have a Facebook Live I want to do on this. I'll probably do it next week. It's something that I just coached with my leaders. You know, there's really 3 things that I do every single day. I am always developing myself. I am running my business, and then I'm running the tribe's business. And so I'm pouring into myself. If I don't develop myself, personal development, podcast, sermon, if I don't build myself up, that's no one else's job. I don't have a leader that checks in on me every day, and I shouldn't need a leader that checks in on me every day. You know what I mean? Like, if I need my validation, which on some level we're all human, we all struggle with self-belief, self-esteem, validation, inadequacy, all that, right? But if I consistently need my validation to come from an external source, something's wrong. Okay. And so I have to be developing myself. And through that development, that's what gets me excited to run my business, because I'm trying to better myself as a human. I'm trying to better who Ashleigh Mayfield is, so I can be the best for my business, the best for my husband, the best for my kids, the best for my friends, the best for who God's called me to be, right? And so I'm making sure that 1/3 of my time is my personal development. And then 1/3 of my time is my business, because you can have your personal development and be pouring into yourself, and you can be pouring into your team. But if you're not leading from the front, your team doesn't respect you. I don't care who you are. If you're not fulfilling your steps to success, if you're not bringing in fresh blood, if you're not popping personally enrolled executives and rubies every month, and obviously it depends on what level you're on, I'm speaking for myself, my team's going to lose respect for me, because they're going to see me telling them what to do, but they see that I'm not doing it. And I think that is one of the reasons I can confidently say my team might not be my biggest fans. Look, I'm like 60% red. Okay. Like, y'all know. Okay. If you know, you know. All right. But I can tell you this, I know my team trusts me because they see me consistently. I'm always present. I'm always available, and I'm always promoting. Either I'm promoting or someone I've enrolled is promoting. And so, and they consistently see me being used by corporate, which means like the corporate's not going to recognize me or have me launch new products or whatever that case may be if I'm not doing what I should be doing as a leader, right? And so it's really important that you are bringing in fresh blood. You need to run your business. That is your number one priority. Other than taking care of yourself, your business is so important. If you're just thinking that, oh, I'm going to go from ruby to diamond with the same people, you are cuckoo. Those people will not take you diamond. And the people who take you diamond will not take you triple. And the people who get you triple will not get you ambassador. Like, it just doesn't happen. Now, yes, in a one-off chance, can it? Sure. If you really develop your leadership. But most of the time, people don't, like, that's not their gift, or that's not their passion. And so you have to be pulling in new for two reasons. Number one, like I just said, some of those people aren't going to take you from A to C or A to D or A to E, right? But the second reason is sometimes those people are going to take you there, but they need their feathers ruffled. And I'll never forget last year when, not this past conference, but a year ago, one of my girls came. She's a triple diamond now with me. And she came and she had been in the business for 2 months and she had just went ruby. She promoted ruby the night, like the Thursday night of conference, whatever the last day of January was. And so we're at conference and she catches the vision, and in 60 days, we took her triple diamond. Full-fledged took her triple diamond in 60 days. She went from ruby to double. And then the next month I was like, let's punch it. Let's do it. Double to triple. And it was just pure magic. And I could have taken 2 other girls that were, all I needed was 1 more triple. I could have taken 2 other girls. One was a diamond, one was a double. I could have taken one of them triple, but I chose this girl, and she pissed off a lot of my leaders because who does she think she is, coming in the tribe going triple diamond in 5 months? Y'all know how y'all get uppity. Like it's the us 4 and no more click, right? And that was really good for, this girl came and raised the bar for us. And she showed us that there was something like the impossible could be possible. You know what I mean? And sometimes your people need to see that. Sometimes your leaders need to see that, right? They need to see that the show will go on. You need to not be afraid to leave people behind. And I got real comfortable leaving people behind, like the show's going on. And I've been able to consistently show my leaders, whether you're beside me or not, like my ship is going to continue to move. And that's where I think a lot of that, again, they might not always be my biggest fans. I'm not saying they always love me. Okay. But I will say, I know my team trusts me because they see me there. So that it's so important that you're leading from the front in your business. But then I'll also say the flip side of that is some people are so focused on mass enrolling that they neglect their team. They neglect the leadership or the duplication. And it becomes more of, I'll give you 15 minutes of my time, but you should figure it out. I figured it out. Why can't you figure it out? And I'm just from the camp that I think that that is terrible leadership. That's me. I am very passionate about leadership. It's one of my God-given gifts. And I had to learn how to be a yellow. It wasn't easy. But I think that, you know, people partner with me and people probably partner with you because you're strong and they're trusting you to show them the way, and they're trusting you to show them how to cross their finish line, and how dare you not help. And so that's why I stick to 9, because I want to be able to serve my business, but I want to be able to serve my tribe. And both are real, like both are necessary, because if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you got to go together. And there's a level of this business that you just can't do on your own. And that's why people get stuck at Ruby. That's why people get stuck at Double. That's why people get stuck at Presidential, because it takes an army to take you beyond that next level. So you need all 3 every day. And you can work on your business and your team all day long and think you don't need personal development. Girl, bye. I can't even, like, bye. You'll never grow. You'll never get the paycheck you want because you have an ego and you think you're entitled to it being exactly who you are right now. And you've got to grow into the person your results require.
Couldn't get it unmuted. Awesome. Thank you. I love that. And we're huge advocates for personal development. That's like one of our requirements, especially in the push group, like personal development every single day. You got to write your 10 gratitudes every single day, affirmations, and they all get posted in our push groups. That's so awesome. So I'm going to kind of combine these two. Do you have a specific schedule for working? Like, do you set aside, okay, these are my office hours, this is my work hours, and then off of that, how are you handling it now? Did you homeschool before though?
No.
I feel like maybe,
God,
okay,
no.
I thought you were homeschooling. Okay, so how do you handle having the girls home and schooling and work and wife life and because a lot of the girls on here are still working full time and doing this on the side, and they have kids and now they're schooling them. And so kind of combining those two. Do you have a schedule? If so, what is it? And then how are you working with everyone being home now?
I'm not. Like, I am the worst person to ask time management advice from. And I'm just going to be very transparent. I don't handle it. I am a hot mess. I might be 60% red, but y'all, that 20 or 30% blue I am so grateful. I have an amazing husband who wears all these hats right now that he does not want to wear, because he understands that, like, my check is a lot more than what he makes, you know? And so he is the teacher, he is the chef, he is the maid, he is everything he does not want to be. And I probably owe him a lot in the bedroom, if you ladies know what I'm saying, okay? Like, I got a lot of IOUs of my man, okay? Because he takes everything off my plate and treats me like a queen so I can do what I need to do. I would work, like, and I probably do. I mean, I've been up and in my office for almost 12 hours now. And yeah, my doors stay open and then my doors shut. And, but I will say that I'm very grateful that my husband is a dominant red. So he has mad respect for the hustle, does not bother him at all. If he was not out wearing these other hats, he'd be in his office doing his hustle. Okay. So, like, I'm very grateful for that. We are not yellow people. We're just not. I have more yellow than him, but I'm the only person in the world my husband is yellow towards, like the only human. My husband will literally, like, he treats me like a queen. He treats me, I'm very, very blessed. But everyone else, he hates you guys. He hates all other humans. So I'm very grateful for that. What I will say is I do have a lot of girls as well in my team who have life happen or they're busy. And, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, you have the same 24 hours as everyone else. And we're reading a great book right now on our leadership, our Rubies and Above, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, if you've not read it. And it talks about the power of consistency. And it also talks about how creating that habit. And when you want to create a habit, you've got to first track it. And so this week, I made my leaders track their habits. What bad habit do you want to track? And some of them said their time, because they were like, I just don't have any time. So I said, okay, well, we're not fixing the habit. You're just tracking it. So grab a pad of paper, carry it with you everywhere. And, you know, mark down where every minute goes, or every time you find yourself drifting or wasting time, put a tally. And let's just see how many tallies we have. And we didn't even get through 3 days before my girls came back and they were like, oh my God, I waste so much time. I thought I was doing income producing activities and I was freaking scrolling. And I'm like, yeah, like we all do that. We're all guilty of that, right? And so I think that you're either, and I'm a very black and white person, you're either going to get it done or you're going to make an excuse why you can't get it done. And at the end of the day, there is someone out there who has a worse situation than you that is doing it. So why not you? Why not you? And if you don't want to do it, I'd rather just someone say, I don't want it, than to give this piss poor excuse like, I don't have time. I just think that's a garbage excuse. And I know that's really harsh and I apologize. If you're brand new, you're like, oh my God, this lady's a jerk. I kind of am. I'm sorry. But I mean, I'm just, you know, how long are you going to hide behind that excuse? Because really, that's something you can control. If you were to document your time and where your time goes, either you need to start something, you need to stop something, you need to say, you need to do something more, or you need to do something less. And what I find usually with time is people are really, it has nothing to do with their time. They're really just overwhelmed. They really don't know what to do and they kind of paralyze themselves. So by the time they do show up to their business, they've given everything else their priority that by the time they get there, they're so paralyzed and trapped that they don't even know what's going on or what to do. And I also find that people get really overwhelmed with their time because they won't say no. And so if you're on here and you're a yellow or a blue, you won't say no. And so I have no problem saying no to people. I'll be like, oh, you want what? NO. Do you want that by smoke signal, by pigeon? Like you need that like by heifer call? Like what you need, boo? Because no, like you're not going to manipulate me. Okay. Like I'm not a yellow like that. But my blue does not like being excluded. And if you're on here and you have a blue personality, you get that. We don't like being left out. We don't like being excluded. And so, oh, you have a butterfly farm competition and you invite me. Oh, I'm gonna go because I'm nosy. And that's not the best use of my time, but I don't know how to say no because everybody else on here is going. So I gotta go because otherwise I'm gonna be left out. And I know that sounds really dumb, but that is how a blue thinks. And so I think a lot of times we overwhelm ourselves because we become the jack of all trades, master of none. So you're so in control of your time. You do all this crap with your day that you have no business doing and that it's not bringing you closer to your goals. Love you.
Love that. Okay, I'm gonna try and get through these because I know you have other things that you got to do. So, okay. So let's talk a little about mom wife life because I think that it's a good segue into it. So you said you've been in your office for like 12 hours today. How do you handle mom guilt? Because I know I told you in our messages too that seems to be a very common thing that the girls are really dealing with right now is feeling the mom guilt because like I said, so many of them are pushing for promotion right now that, I mean, kids get put on the back burner sometimes. So how do you handle that? And how do you keep your kids from feeling left out? And how do you work your business really hard like you are 12 hours today in your office, but still make your kids feel important or engaged?
So I'm going to put my heart on the shelf for a second. The very red side of me, I think mom guilt is let me speak with my heart for a second so I can be nice. Mom guilt is a very real thing. Okay. So I hear you. We do feel guilty. Now let me put my heart on the shelf. It is some bull crap. You know, you got a kid who's 6 months old and you feel guilty? I have a 7 and a 10-year-old. My job is not to entertain these two kids. Y'all want for nothing. You got iPads. You got your schoolwork. Go use your brain. So like, what do? I make sure that like I open my doors. I go out. Every morning I go into their bedrooms. I ask them how their day is doing. We tickle until they want to pee their pants. We eat dinner together as a family. Like today I was bad. I did bring my phone to the table, but I try not to bring my cell phone to the table. But we eat dinner together as a family, like 7 nights a week, like maybe one night a week. We don't, Monday nights we don't eat as a family because me and my husband have a date night, which is just a table in our bedroom. But normally Monday nights are date nights, but because of quarantine, we just go to our bedroom. You guys, my job is not to entertain my kids. My job is to provide, and my job is to like put clothes on their back, food in their bellies, and a roof over their head. My job is to make sure that they've got a good car when they turn 16. My job is to lavish them with gifts because I can spoil my kids. Like, my job is not to entertain them 15 hours a day. And I'm not ruining my kids because they get on their iPad for a few hours. I'm not ruining my kids because they're creative and playing in their rooms and coloring and drawing and writing and reading books. Like, and everybody has different age kids, so I can't speak to this. This is just me. I don't feel guilty about that. Now, what I will say is I do have the benefit of my husband. My husband is being the school teacher right now, which is interesting. Our 10-year-old can do school all on her own. My husband's got our kindergartner, or our first grader. She'd be mad if I said that. Our first grader, where Gator is getting it all done in like an hour, hour and a half. Okay. She does the majority of it on her own. He just kind of like pushes some of the buttons and gets her logged in and stuff. But you know, like I'm right here with them. What's the alternative? You don't work your business and now you're away from them more. And I know some of you are probably working a job. So what's the alternative of not doing this business? Is you're going to get a part-time job that's away from your family more? or you're not going to hustle now so you can leave your full-time job to come home. Like, it's very counterproductive to me for people to talk about mom guilt. And I know, like, you can sit there and say, Mayfield, you have no idea. And you are probably right. I am probably so far in left field that I don't have a platform to speak on this. And I totally respect that I can be saying some ignorant stuff right now. I understand. But if you want something, like, you can, and I'm just gonna be real red for a second, so I love you guys, forgive me. You can piss and moan that you have mom guilt, or you can just shut up and promote and be home in 90 days. And I apologize. I know that's so brash, and I apologize. But that's how I feel about it. Like, let's buck up and do this, girlfriend. Let's make you $2,000 then. Like, let's go, go, go. Like, I'm here with you. Let's do this. But if every time you're facing this mom guilt, like, at some point we've got to stop stopping ourselves and say, okay, well, do you want to deal with the mom guilt or not? Like, let's get you home then. Let's get you the $15,000 bonus. Let's get you the $20,000 bonus. You know what I mean? Do you guys still love me? Can you drop a 1 in the chat if you still love me? Sorry. I know, I'm sorry. You can still love me, but not like me right now. And it's okay. It's fine.
No, that's so good. And I literally, like, I was telling them that the other day. I was like, look, like, my son's 13. I have 13-year-old and 9-month-old. You saw a little Ashleigh conference. But you know, my son can totally mom guilt me sometimes. Like, you've been on your phone all day. So what's the alternative? I go back to work and I'm gone 10 hours a day, 11 hours a day, and he's at before school and after school care. And I would much rather be sitting on the couch next to him on my phone we're watching The Walking Dead right now, watching The Walking Dead, than have him at before and after school care while I'm at work. So and
I think just being intentional, like, you know, so I realized I wasn't spending enough time with my oldest. And so I said, okay, every Friday we're going to have movie night. So we've been having movie night. So tomorrow night from 7 to 9, it's calendar blocked every Friday from here until Kingdom Come. I'm having a movie night with her. And you guys, I'm giving her just 2 hours of my time. And I said, we don't always have to do movies, but she's more of like a yellow green, like we're kind of opposite personalities. And so for her, quality time is very important. That's not my love language, but that's hers. And she wants that quality time, and we don't need to talk. And so I said, okay, sometimes we'll talk, sometimes we won't. When this whole thing's done, we don't have to do a movie. We could go out and go see a movie, or we could go out and get ice cream and chit chat or something like that. But for right now, it looks like us getting drinks and popcorn and snuggling up in her bed. And we just watched Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and we're gonna watch something tomorrow night, you know? But that's what she needs. That's it. That's all she needs. She needs that. And that, like, fills her cup up. You know, my youngest daughter, I didn't get a chance to play with her today. I just said, hey, I'm sorry. The free time that I had earlier, my husband wanted to spend with me. He said, hey, come lay down in the bed with me. And he just conked out, and I just sat there fiddling on my phone. And I was like, no, I'm choosing dad, because I'm choosing my husband over my kids. I'm sorry. I'm that mom. Like, I love my husband. I know I sound like a real ratchet mom right now. I love my kids, you guys. Okay. But my daughter, my youngest Gator, we didn't get a chance to play today. So I said, hey, did you know two of her favorite stuffed animals? It's a goat and a flamingo, and they're best friends. And it's Beard and Flappy. I'm like, did you know tomorrow's their birthday? And she was like, oh, and I was like, we need a birthday party. So I'm going to throw a birthday party for 2 stuffed animals tomorrow for 30 minutes. And that's going to make her week.
I love that. And I don't know who said it, but someone said, like, your kids really don't want more than an hour with you anyways. Like,
they don't.
If you spend more than an hour with them, they're kind of like, hey, can I go play Xbox or outside to shoot hoops? Like, they don't want more than an hour with you anyway. So I love that. Okay, girl, let's shift to mindset real quick, and then we'll let you get going, because we know your time is precious. But I think, you know, someone said, what daily activities do you do for mindset? I think you kind of talked about that. You do some form of self-development every single day. I saw someone asked in the chat, like, what you do for self-development. I think they're like, is it podcasts? Is it books? Is it?
So I read 10 pages of a book a day. That's been a non-negotiable for me since January 1st. So even when I've traveled, even at conference, I brought my book, I read 10 pages a day. And that has helped me so much. I think I'm on my 12th or 11th book right now for the year. That's helped me out a lot. And right now I'm reading this book. It's the second time I've read it. It's called Fully You. It's a good life book by Joelle Malm. Joelmalm, Fully You. And it's a really good life book if you struggle with shame, if you struggle with anger. It talks about the triangle of needs, how every human needs safety, connection, and empowerment. And if you don't have safety, you're going to feel abandonment. If you don't have connection, you're going to feel rejection. If you don't have empowerment, you're going to feel humiliation. And it really just talks about how you can like conquer these issues. And so I'm excited I just really felt it is a Christian-based book. The guy, he was a missionary, and so he writes a lot like from perspective. He includes like Bible verses and stuff like that, but really good book. And so I just kind of stick to my lane, like what I read. I don't read every single book under the sun. I don't read every single thing that's recommended to me. I trust my gut, but I really do stick to things that have to do with personal growth, development, leadership, vision, and culture. Like that's my wheelhouse right there. And I also listen to, I just think there's no excuse for personal development. I mean, can you tell, like, I really just don't think there's excuses for a lot of stuff. But personal development, like when you're in the shower, you could be listening to a podcast. When you're putting your makeup on in the morning, you could be listening to something. When you're driving in your car, you could be listening to something. And so you just have to swap. It's just a swap. Instead of listening to music, listen to this. And so every day, I don't just read 10 pages. I am always listening to something, whether that's a sermon, a podcast. I drive, it's going to sound so dumb. I drive 3 hours to get my hair done. So I drive across state to go see my girl where I used to live to get my hair done. And I'm like, please open up. So whenever I drive 3 hours, that's 3 hours there, 3 hours back. I'm always listening to an Audible book. You know, and so if I'm not like making phone calls to my team, like 30 minutes back to back to back to coach, 9 times out of 10, I'm listening to an Audible book. And so I'm just always filling my brain. And I'm not one of these people that overfills. Like I've got some people that are like, oh my gosh, I'm already on my 40th book for the month or for the year. And I'm like, what? Like, how do you even retain any of that? And so to me, that's the equivalent of enrolling 50 DTs. Like, how do you even effectively coach 50 people that you enroll? You know what I mean? Because at some point you can have all the systems in the world, but a system will not replace a heart. You know what I mean? And so for me, I read 10 pages a day. This is just what I feel. It was based on the recommendation of my husband. And I think it's in the book, Atomic Habits. But just 10 pages a day, I really do feel like I'm able to implement things that I'm learning as I go, because I'm not overdoing it, but I'm also not taking 3 months to finish a book. So I've got some kind of consistency with it. So that I had to work myself up to that. I've been doing personal development for over 3 years, and I've just started reading 10 pages a day since January. I just started reading books last year. And that's because my husband was like, you know, you might need to like, I was only doing Audible. He's like, there's something powerful about having it in your hand. And I do agree with that, because when you're listening to an Audible book or a podcast, you can be multitasking, and I thrive in multitasking, but it's still, you don't, I mean, there's just valid point. You don't give your full attention to it. And so you could miss something. And, but when you read a book, you have to be fully submersed in it, you know? So I've kind of worked my way up to that. And now I love it. It's just like air to my lungs. Every day I read 10 pages of a book.
That's perfect. Okay, so let's see. We can kind of combine these two. How do you deal with fear and negativity? And it can be over anything. We do a lot of host to post, and you know how that is. The more host to post you get up, the higher the odds are someone's going to go be just a jerk on the host post and say stupid crap. So how do you deal with, you know, if you have that, or somebody who's, one of the girls on here had someone really come after her private message and really kind of tear a new one. So when you get that kind of stuff, how do you deal with that? And then from that same perspective, how do you help your new DTs when they're dealing with that as well? So what do you do for yourself personally? And then how do you coach and implement that with your newbies?
For me personally, I block and move on. I'm not even going to read it. I mean, I'm going to get 3 sentences deep and I'm done. I mean, if you've seen my Facebook Live where I talk about Jeremy, I mean, who doesn't know about Jeremy at this point? You know, Jeremy wrote me a message. I like, it was such bull crap. Okay. When I first opened it up, and I went to screenshot it to send to my presidential, because me and my presidential went to high school together, and we went to high school together with this kid. And I like screenshot, and then I scrolled up and I screenshot and I scrolled up and realized like, I'm already 3 scrolls deep and I like flicked 3 more times and he wasn't done. And I was like, block. Like we take like hurt people. And we take what someone's projecting onto us and we take it so personal, and you've got to let that go. Like, don't even, like, we should not even be justifying ourselves to people like that. People who come at me harsh, that's the kind of, that's who I am in life though. If I have another dominant red personality come at me, or like, oh, Mayfield, I'm going to cream you, I'm going to beat you in this contest, I'll let him beat me. I'll be like, okay, go ahead. Because I'm not getting in a penis swinging contest with you. And I apologize. I think I saw a baby there. I'm so sorry, girl. Oh, she little. She's sucking on a sucker. She don't know what's going on. She got a lollipop there or whatever. She got a little ice pop. But I'm not going into a swinging contest with you. Like, my journey is not me versus you. So I'm not competitive like that. I don't like that kind of competition. I get a lot of anxiety. Like, I'm grateful that I got to go to Costa Rica being a top 20 earner. But you do not know, the first 6 weeks I don't even know if I know what anxiety is. I'm not a person that like suffers from anxiety. I had something like, if it's anxiety, I was overwhelmed with emotion because I was like, it's just all this, you know how everybody is when something happens, it's like all this big talk. You know, every January, everyone comes out of the gate talking all this and you're like, everyone's got it but me, you know, and it's just this weird feeling. And so my journey is me versus me, and I'm not going to let someone else project onto me. And now I think people like, I don't really get messed with a lot. I think people know I'm crazy and they know that I will talk about them from my Facebook Live or on the microphone on stage. So, I talked about Jeremy at conference. So, but I will say also, if you guys get on TikTok, those people are ruthless. Like, they are so mean. It's a bunch of like 12-year-old punk kids, and they're so mean. And I'm like, I would never have the audacity to talk to another human the way you guys do. They're so ruthless. And so you just like, literally, I just block, delete, block, delete, block, delete, block, delete. Like, you just move on. I don't know. You got to grow some thick skin if you want to be in this game, because people are stupid. It's true. But as far as my new people, I think anytime I can have the tough conversation with new distributors, I always do. Like, don't shy away from having the tough conversations, whether that's their paycheck, it's people support, it's leadership lessons. And I just have that when I'm launching people, like, hey, you know, not everyone's going to support you, and it's okay. Like, let's talk about it when it happens. And I think a lot of times people, you know, if they don't have a way to talk about it and get it out, they're going to feel embarrassed and they're going to feel alone, and then they're going to want to quit. And I think I've learned to have all of those tough, awkward conversations up front. When I know their color personality and I know that they're a red or a yellow, I'm like, look, you're stubborn. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. You're not more stubborn than me. So at some point I'm going to be like, yo, Taryn, I need you to stop being arrogant and send me screenshots. I was like, in like a week, we're going to have that conversation. And they laugh about it. They're like, probably. Like, I'm addressing it before it happens. And when you do that, you lighten the load. And so when Taryn starts puckering up later, and I'm like, yo, Taryn, remember when we talked about that on Zoom? Send screenshot. Like, it's not like I'm blindsiding them. If all we do is lift people up and make it seem like everybody wants our products and everybody's going to support you, and the one person that they expected to support them doesn't, it's going to feel like the rug got pulled out from underneath them. So I just try to have that honest conversation up front and then be like, yo, we've already talked about this. It's okay. Take a minute, put your phone down, come back in 5 minutes, shake it off. Like, we'll just go get another person, you know? That's how I handle that.
That's perfect. So last question for you, girl. Okay. So, you know how in a month goes, right? You got your chart in place. You're like closing in on that BV, and all of a sudden your Ruby just falls apart, like quits or whatever. And then you're $400. And so, I mean, it happens. And like, I always tell my team, I'm like, guys, if that's not happening, you're not promoting. Like,
oh, if you don't feel like it's all falling apart, you are doing it wrong. Like, you're doing it wrong. I'm telling you, it's really true.
So how do you push through though when that happens? And being a little more specific in that too, when stuff like that happens and you're super irritated about it or frustrated or just feel overwhelmed or defeated or whatever, do you just keep working and push through, or do you set the phone down, walk away for a little bit and then come back?
I mean, I definitely have moments like earlier this week. I didn't sign my first distributor this week until yesterday. And I was really like, God, what's going on? Like I was starting to get, I was almost starting to get like like at some point our urgency can become desperation. Right. And so I felt like I was flirting, like I'm like French kissing that line, like, which way am I going to go? You know? And I had to take a step back and I was like, okay, we don't need to act desperate because people don't like that. That like deters people. So what I would say is there's definitely moments where I feel that. And at that moment, I need to take a step back. I need to gain perspective. And I just needed to say, you know what? You've already enrolled an amazing amount of people so far this month. And if this isn't the week, even though there's an awesome promotion, if this isn't the week you get someone, you're going to keep doing your thing. I'm going to keep doing the things I know to do, you know, and I'm going above and beyond, but sometimes it's just not there. So I like to say it's a fine line between whether I take a step back, and by take a step back, I don't mean I take 5 days off. I mean, like I take a 15-minute timeout, let me regroup. But I think a lot of it comes back to vision. Like I'm not going to stop just because things look like they're falling apart. I think that things come together last minute magically. I'll also say, I think that, you know, you'd be shocked how well your business can run if you don't wait till the 25th to turn on. You know, and I find a lot of people want to wait till the 25th to turn on. And that's when they kind of operate with urgency and take it serious. And I don't want to work with those people. I'm like, I'm going to work with the people who have been here since the beginning of the month, when it wasn't fun, when it was hard, when people didn't have money, you know? And so when it's month end, you have to see yourself through the finish line. And I think I've been really good about learning. I had to learn this, learning how to put my heart on the shelf, and I'll cry May 1st, no matter what happens, rise, fall, whatever. We can talk about it and cry May 1st. And I tell my leaders that, like, hey, we have 5 days now. It's time to go all in. Are you ready? And that means you're going to sacrifice sleep. That means you're going to sacrifice family time. It's going to cost you something. I don't want to see you the last day of the month going to a birthday party. Like that's not cool. Like the last 48 hours, we are in this together. We are, you know, I mean, other than like, I'm not going to sacrifice my body odor and my hygiene. Okay. Like I feel really strong about that. Everyone to each their own, but some girls are like, I didn't shower in 6 days. And I'm like, Lord, have mercy on your soul and your crotch. Okay. So that's another Zoom for another day. But y'all listen, y'all know, okay. I know y'all laughing, but listen, no. So, but other, like, I'm probably not doing my hair. I'm not doing a full face of makeup. I'm not getting my hair done. I don't have an appointment to get my nails done. Like, that's just me. And that's what I've instilled in my culture. So we're going to go all in those last 5 days, and we're going to be up each other's butts, and it's going to be very business. It's not personal. And we're going to leave our heart and our emotions on the shelf, and we're going to run through the finish line. We're going to work until 12:59 Eastern time. And if it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, we'll cry together on May 1st. And I actually don't take May 1st off. May 1st is a work day. I take off the 2nd. So I usually say, you know, we'll cry together on the 2nd, because I still need you to show up on the 1st, because I need you to rally your troops for whatever we're doing, you know, whatever new announcements there. But, you know, we'll have that conversation later. But I think you just press through. You don't give up just because it looks like it's falling apart. You keep going, because you never know, if you were to quit, slow down, or stop, what was waiting right there for you. So that's kind of how I think about that.
Awesome. Well, Ashleigh, I cannot thank you enough, because I know we went over, you guys, Ashleigh went over on the time. She has
you're so fine.
So many people asking her to get on Zoom. So we are so grateful that you took the time to get on with us. If you guys can throw a quick comment in there, thanking her in the chat for giving us her time tonight. What is it, 10:30 for you almost?
Yep.
Yeah. So she spent time away from her family, her kiddos, and everything to be with us and pour into us. And she doesn't get anything out of this, you guys. So thank you, Ashleigh, so very much for everything tonight. We're so grateful. I think everyone at this point, we're all just going to run to ambassador in less than a year because that's what Ashleigh did, right?
Go for it. Do it.
So, all right, girl. Well, thank you